always come out on top because you have the grace factor working in your life. Grace is the divine, unearned provision of God made available to man to bring victory in life's situations. And that's what Mother Wooten had. She had grace working for her. When the doctors and the medical staff didn't have it going on, they were not alert, she had the grace factor. And grace is available to everyone who will receive it. Ephesians 4:7 says, but to every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ. And in the Amplified it says, yet grace, God's unmerited favor, was given to each of us individually, not indiscriminately, but in different ways, in proportion to the measure of Christ's rich and bounteous gift. So whatever you need, there is grace available to you. Grace, say grace, is a special endowment for the task, for the assignment, for the ministry assignment. In 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, verses 9 and 10 says, according to the grace, the special endowment for my task of God bestowed on me like a skillful architect and a master builder, I laid the foundation. This is Apostle Paul talking. He says, and now another man is building upon it. But let each man be careful how he builds upon it. You know, when I first entered into the doors of Williams Temple some many years ago, and I was a young, beautiful black woman. And the bishop was Bishop Columbus Williams. Amen. And I would like to say that this is my mentor, the Bishop, Dr. Lawrence Wooten. Amen. At that time, he wasn't the bishop, he was just Dr. Lawrence Wooten. And he mentored me, and he didn't even realize it. Bishop Columbus Williams had laid the foundation. Oh, yes. And this man was a servant. He served the bishop. Yes, he did. He was an educated man. He had a doctorate degree, and the bishop had not gone to college. He was the first administrator. But God had given him the grace to serve the man of God. And he served him humbly. And he never tried to usurp authority. And God promoted him because he had the grace. See, the grace was there all the time, but he stayed in his lane as the servant to the man of God. And I watched him, and I was privileged to go to the bishop's house. I'm talking about Bishop Columbus Williams and Mother Della Williams. And I used to help them with their accounting. And Bishop was so confident that Lawrence had his back. And that he was gonna, and even when he was sick, he never tried to take advantage of the bishop in his weaknesses. So he can't get nothing but a harvest of laborers that are working for him. But I'm talking about grace. He learned how to tap into God's grace to be faithful in what God had called him to. There's a grace that is bestowed upon you for whatever he asks you to do. There's a grace available for your goals to be accomplished. And we must learn to tap into the grace that has been available and been made available to you so that you can win in life. It is by faith that we tap into this grace. You have to have faith to operate in grace. You know that you were saved by grace through faith. But in order to continue to operate in grace, it has to be by faith. Grace is the key to me reigning in life. And we receive this reigning in life through the abundance of grace. Grace has many sides. It is multifaceted. And I want to open up our minds. I want to open up our horizons. I want us to see the bigger picture of grace. Grace is the gift of God. Grace is available to all of us. It is given to us indiscriminately. For every weakness in our life, there is grace to overcome. Grace is the favor of God. Grace is the favor of God. And what I mean by that, grace is the willingness for others to use their power, their ability, their influence to help us get the job done. You know, God will raise up somebody somewhere with power, ability, and influence to help you accomplish the job that you need to get done. That's why we need to learn how to tap in to God's amazing grace. For whatever you need, God will raise up somebody. And the access code to walking in grace is faith. Grace is unearned, which means you don't have to work for it. It's a gift of God. If you use your faith, you can operate in this grace. And God has it available for us. Now, I know you are familiar with the different names of God. Jehovah Tneskenu, Jehovah Shammah, El Elyon, Elohim. But today I want to introduce you to another name of God by the name of Jehovah Kores, which means the God of all grace. There's a supernatural grace available where God will raise up somebody somewhere with